As you can see, I'm doing things a little bit differently this evening. I wanted to read The Raven, and I thought that I had it in one of my books, but then I discovered I don't have it in any of the books. So I'm just reading it without a book. But I wanted to have something interesting visually whilst I recite the poem. So you have my cat George in front of the log burner. I'm in a different room tonight. George refuses to go into the room where I usually film. Don't know why. He doesn't like that room though. With the one with the open fire. So it's a log burner tonight. Less crackly, but you might get some purrs. Let me know if you like having George around. I can put him in more videos. Although, wouldn't be able to be in the other room because of George's preferences. I've done a softly spoken version of The Raven as well. I thought I'd do both, seeing as it's not that long. Okay, so The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone expressing to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating over she shall press on nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkle on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still,